Hello. So today, the second part of our notes, we're going to be focusing on adjective agreement notes. So if you want to be on top of your game, you should probably follow along with these notes and take some on your own. If it's important enough for me to write it down and to show it to you, it is important enough for you to write it down and to pay attention to it. So just like I said in the SARE video, there's going to be a little quiz to go along with this to ensure that you are watching the videos and that you're paying attention so you can master these very basic grammar concepts. So the first thing we have to talk about when we're talking about adjective agreement in Spanish are adjectives in English, or just adjectives in both languages. So what is an adjective? So adjectives are descriptive words. And this is true in both languages. So I've given you a vocabulary word bank with a bunch of adjectives that we are going to be memorizing in this unit. You will have a big quiz before Christmas on this. So it is important that you start memorizing those. So some example adjectives that you're going to see are words like pretty, which is the word bonita in Spanish. Another adjective might be tall, which is alto in Spanish. So you see these words could be used to describe somebody. If I said, Chris Hemsworth es alto y bonito, he is tall and pretty, that would be an accurate sentence. Okay, so in Spanish, we have to worry about some additional classifications that we don't worry about in English. So in English, I can use pretty for a girl or a boy, and I can use tall for a girl or a boy without changing the spelling. But in Spanish, we have to make sure that our adjectives are in agreement with our subjects. So the first way that words are broken up in Spanish is by number. So the big thing you're going to have are words singular, are the noun, oh, you can't even see that, I'm sorry. So are the nouns and adjectives singular, or are they plural? So they have the same rules in Spanish as we do in English. So if something's singular, there's just one. And it is not ending in S. And then words that are plural, so you have more than one, and they do end in S. So some examples in Spanish, if I have the word friend, amigo, that is singular. It's just one friend. But then if I wanted to make that plural, all I would have to do is add an S. Amigos. And so to make words plural, so to make a singular word a plural word in Spanish, you just add an S to the end. And this is if it ends in a vowel. And you'll find that most of our words in Spanish do end in vowels, especially our nouns and adjectives. Now, if I have an adjective or a noun that does not end in a vowel, if it ends in a consonant, there's a slightly different process. So to make words plural, just add es to the end, and that's if it ends in a consonant. So this is going to be like every letter but A, E, I, O, or U. So an example, what is it? The word paper. So the word papel is paper. If I have one paper, it is papel. But if I have two papers, plural, I'm going to take papel. And because this is a consonant, I'm going to add an es to the end. So papeles is how you say papers in Spanish. Okay. So another way that words are classified in Spanish, so this goes for nouns and for adjectives, they're classified by gender. Now, this is a completely foreign concept to us as English speakers, because when we hear the word gender, we automatically assume it's referring to a girl or to a boy, which is sometimes the case in Spanish. All the words referring to boys happen to be masculine, and those referring to girls happen to be feminine. But gender is more of like a spelling issue. So the two genders in Spanish, we're going to classify things as either feminine or, not plural, I'm crazy, sorry, masculine. So we have to determine, is that word feminine or is it masculine? So typically, feminine words are going to end in A or AS if they are plural. They'll end in AS. And then masculine words, virtually everything else. So one of the words I used earlier when we were talking about number is the word amigo. So we are going to figure out if this word is feminine or masculine. So we have to look at the ending. It ends in an O. So feminine words typically end in A or AS. Is this feminine? No. It's masculine because it ends in an O. So we know that this amigo happens to be a boy. Another example that doesn't involve people, we have the word backpack or mochila. Is it feminine or masculine? Okay, so we look at the ending. Ends with an A, so it will be feminine. And you notice this has nothing to do with the backpack being girly or just for girls. It just has to do with the spelling of the word. So another example of this is the word vestido, which means dress, like a girl would wear a dress. So even though dresses are for girls, typically, because its spelling ends with an O, it's a masculine word. I know it's kind of strange, but the good thing is when we were talking about adjectives, we can change the adjectives from feminine or from masculine by changing the ending. So some adjectives that we have, we'll look up here. So I used the word bonita earlier. So if I want to say that a girl is pretty or that a feminine object is pretty, I'm going to use bonita. Ella es bonita. She is pretty. If I want to say that he is pretty, I'd say él es bonito. So you just change that ending, you swap it. And then if I'm talking about a group of girls, so if I'm saying, if I want to talk about Sarah y Martha, two girls, I'd say they are, Sarah y Martha son, I have to use a form of ser. And then I'm going to take the word for pretty. So our subject is feminine because it's two girls. And then is it singular or plural? Is there one person or more than one? So there is more than one person, so it's plural. So we have to make bonita plural to match. Sarah y Marta son bonitas. They are pretty. Okay. So now there are a few adjectives in Spanish that are gender neutral. So I'll pull these up for you. So because gender is determined by the spelling of a word in Spanish, there are certain words and certain spellings that don't classify as feminine or masculine. They're gender neutral. So you don't have to change these for boys or for girls. So words, specifically adjectives, descriptive words, ending in E, in, Z, or L can be used without changing for masculine and feminine. So an example of this could be the word intelligent. So intelligent or smart in Spanish ends with an E. So inteligente. If I want to say the smart girl, I would say la chica inteligente. There's no A at the end of the adjective to match. Because this right here, inteligente, is gender neutral. And then the final thing that we are going to cover before we do a few examples, where can the adjective be located in the sentence? So there are two ways to do this. So in a complete sentence, and then just a brief description. So there are these two different options are going to have two different answers. So if we are talking about a complete sentence, it is going to be formatted in a very basic way. So like the girl is smart. The adjective is going to come at the end of the sentence. The girl is smart. La chica, the girl, is smart. La chica es inteligente. So because la chica is singular, it's one girl, inteligente has to be singular to match. Okay, and then our second way is a brief description. So in English, we do the reverse of the Spanish. So just pay attention to what I'm writing. So an example of a brief description in English using the same concept, instead of saying the girl is smart, I'd just say the smart girl. So you see, this is not a complete sentence. It's just a brief description of this person. So in Spanish, the adjective comes after the noun. So it's the reverse. So our adjective in English is right here, and our noun is girl. So in Spanish, we have to flip it. So we have la chica, inteligente. So the smart girl. The smart girl. Okay. So those are the notes on adjective agreement. I'm going to post another video for this week, and I'm going to be doing some examples from our activity, from our worksheet. So feel free to watch that. Come to the Zooms, ask questions. It is my job to help you, so if I can, I will. So please, please, please ask me questions, come to the Zooms, send me an email or a remind message if that is easier for you. Okay. Thank you and have a great day.